Oh, yeah. We got some stuff to talk about today. Jerry Jeudy's name gets brought up today, and the internet is on fire again, once again. We'll talk about, how that came about. We'll also talk about what it might take to get him. And it started today with Goodwin. Like you get a guy who we finally got a name that we're attached to as a receiver, and then all of a sudden we get Jeudy's name like after Goodwin, and we forgot all about Goodwin. Jeff and I will break it all down for you, and we'll talk to you in the last segment about, does this satisfy our itch for a receiver if we can land Jerry Jeudy? I'll tell you what I think coming up here, and it's a very exciting episode of the Locked On Browns podcast.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For everybody, anything breaking Locked On Browns wise, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Notifications on when the newest content drops. You guys are there to digest it. Your host, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Also with the Barbershop, 92.3 The Fan, open every Saturday morning. Mr. G. Bush, Garrett Bush at G. Bush 91. Today's episode of Locked On Browns is brought to you by Ultimate Football GM. If you ever dreamed of becoming an NFL general manager and managing your football franchise, then this game is definitely for you. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look it up in your app stores. Our listeners get a 100% free boost in their franchise when using the promo Locked On, all caps, no space, in the game store. So your Wednesday edition of Locked On Browns. Tuesday, we're talking a little Marquis Goodwin, came in Monday night, stayed in town, back in the Browns facilities today. Marquis Goodwin, a David Mulligetta representative. So, of course, obviously, ties there to Deshaun Watson. For a lot of people who needed that deep speed receiver to stretch the defense, like G. Bush said, man, you run a 4.27. There ain't many other people going to match that in the NFL. Track star, really good football player. For as many years as he's been in the league, his statistical production doesn't really kind of match up for the amount of time he's been in the league. And if you were going to bring in a Marquis Goodwin, which I probably wouldn't have an issue with, it ain't going to cost you a ton of money. Probably, I'd say $2 million max, and it'd be 1 year. He's going to be 33, obviously, in the fall. And then, I'd say about lunchtime, G, all of a sudden now, we're still talking wide receiver, and all of a sudden now business starts to pick up again. Mary Kay Cabot involves Ben Albright out in Denver. And, guys, I was adamant, like I just didn't see any way this was going to work. And in the beginning, Jerry Jeudy was not available. And one of the reasons, and I know I can tell you, is because the same person who was telling you today in Ben Albright, that maybe there is still something there, and it seems to maybe be picking up a little traction. I've known Ben for years, guys. Ben was one of the first guys to reach out a hand to me back in the day. I talk with Ben all the time. I send him a message. He's always honest, and it's, yes, or it's, I don't know. And that's one of the things I like about Ben Albright, is because he doesn't put something out there unless he feels there's enough traction to put it out there. So the thought of bringing in a player like Jerry Jeudy, first off, and we can get to this, we're going to get to possible, compensation and how this all work here, in, segment 2. For me, you're just talking about a really talented player. And if anybody remembers, about a year ago this time, I was beating up Heath Smith every day. Why aren't we talking Denver? Why aren't we talking about Denver, about Jerry Jeudy, who at the time would have probably even come cheaper because nothing was going on. But Denver, okay, we're bringing in Russell Wilson. We're going to give Jerry Jeudy a try. We're going to see how this is going to work. Sean Payton, for some reason, it appears that maybe Jerry Jeudy, he feels, isn't the greatest fit for him. And if you can believe it, because, he's not sure he's a good enough run blocker. All right, dude. My man's going to go for 1,000 a year. I got, what I'm saying? I'll take you off the field if we're running the ball. I really don't give a crap, to be honest with you, as far as that's going. Jerry Jeudy, uber talented. I know there's going to be people, there were drop issues. Yes, as a rookie, he dropped 12 passes. Guess who dropped 18 passes as a rookie in the NFL as well? Amari Cooper.
Yep.
These things can happen, okay? Now, over the last 2 years, I believe it's 8 drops. So people went back through the film today, maybe accredited some of those drops to questionable PFF scoring, whether it was maybe necessarily the quarterback or Jerry Jeudy himself. But, and I'm sure everybody can tell by the tone of my voice, if this could be a reality, I'm definitely in. I mean, this guy is way too talented. It gives you a bridge where, because we always thought maybe Amari Cooper, this was only going to be a 2-year stint anyway. Nobody's sure if Donovan will ever be a true number one. But you can say that, in 2024, it could be a Jerry Jeudy, Donovan Peoples-Jones-led wide receiver room. Bet.
It's for me, this is where we get to, man. There's a segment of people that are risk averse. I get it. You don't want to get anybody if it's not a slam dunk. If it's not a 24-year-old receiver who runs a 4.2, who has no drops, who has a 40-inch vertical,
Randy Moss,
who's durable, who has great character on and off the field, and has great production the first 3 years, better than Jerry Rice. Well, that means you just want Jamar Chase then, right? Because you're not getting him. We got to understand something here, and I just want to just put this out here to people. We hear now, people. This is what happens when you get a franchise quarterback, right? This is, and we talked about it, and we've been looking for one for so long. We never knew that all this other stuff came along with it. It's the national media scrutiny. It's the fact that now you have to upgrade your receiving core. You have to get weapons. Before we watched these quarterbacks who we were trying to evaluate whether or not they could even just throw the football, make simple reads, and win some football games. Now that is out of the question, and we've been doing it for all 20-something odd years, now we have a whole nother set of responsibilities that come along with that. That means getting that quarterback somebody. That means making sure that you got an offense that can, complement what you're trying to do. And if anybody's been watching it, I know a lot of guys are armchair guys, and they don't watch a bunch of film. But listen, Jerry Jeudy is a tremendous talent. He runs routes crispy. He was the Biletnikoff winner. The guy can just do a lot of different things. And if you just want to look at stats like most people do and want to look up PFF grades and say he's either good or bad based on those, well, I'm not going to be able to tell you or change your mind on that, because I would be trying to explain to someone who's not really versed in what we're talking about here. Jerry Jeudy is a difference maker. He's in the prime of his career. He had drops 2-3 years ago, but let's talk about that. You had the stat I had tucked away. Mari Cooper had more drops than that. At the end of the day, he makes this team a contender. Jerry, and this was the first time you've heard me say that. I didn't even say it if they would have got Brandon Cooks. You see it, Jeff? I didn't say that. DeAndre Hopkins. I didn't say if they got DeAndre Hopkins, they was going to be an automatic contender. This is the first receiver that we are talking about that makes the Cleveland Browns a legitimate contender. Now, the asking price. We'll talk about that a little later on. But let's be clear. Just get it down to the beautiful science of things. The kid can play football, and if you know football, you know he can play football.
And look, he was at Alabama at the time with a whole bunch of crazy good wide receiver, Ruggs, Devontae Smith. And at the time, Jerry Jeudy was considered the best in the group. And this year, everything on the Denver Broncos was absolute piss poor and hot flaming garbage. You know what was it? Jerry Jeudy. Something in Jerry Jeudy in a situation where a guy could have really fallen off the path. Jerry Jeudy rose above it all and really put together a solid season. We're going to get to it. Now, look, to get something, you got to give something. And that's what we're going to get to here. G. Bush, Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. The midway point of the NBA season is here and gone, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back on your first bet if you don't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. You can then bet on everything from the money line, individual point scores, and of course, three-pointers drained. You're going to spend time watching these ball games. Why don't you take a small chunk of change, put together a same-game parlay, find 4, 5, 6 bets that you really like, put down $5 because you're betting 4, 5, 6 at a time. You're guaranteed a big payout. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Locked On Brown podcast. G. Bush, Jeff Lloyd, thank you for making us your first listen of each and every day. And subscribe on YouTube so you can get all of the videos updated over there. Now, let me ask you a question, my man. You play receiver.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to break it down and you had to say, we'll get to a little bit about what it might cost to get these guys. Well, in your opinion of when, because you know, I'm seeing a lot of people saying Donovan Peoples-Jones is the same person as Jerry Jeudy. When it comes to evaluating a receiver, how would you compare those two? And this is no disrespect to Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think he's making strides. I think he's doing a great job. Shout out to him for you getting that bag for those incentives. I saw it in the news. Shout out to you. I love what you're doing. However, I do think there's some considerable differences between these two receivers. Where do you fall on the comparison?
I think Jerry Jeudy, and you touched on this earlier, he's an incredible route runner. You look at some of the success he had this year, and when you literally have a defensive back with their back to you, I cannot even tell you. That's like N1 mixtape crap back in the day. When you, in any sport, when you can physically juke a defender to the point where you were staring at their last name on their jersey, you've straight up embarrassed them. Absolutely embarrassed him. And this is some of the highlights you see with Jerry Jeudy. His ability to catch the circus balls. You saw that this year. Just be able to get yourself in just wide open with your feet. And keep in mind, he's probably just about as fast as Donovan Peoples-Jones. So it's not like, he's given much more, but, he can kind of move like guys can make cuts on a basketball court. That's what makes Jerry Jeudy this impressive. And the footwork at 6'1", 200 pounds, he moves more like a guy who's 5'10", 180. He's got slot type of feet on a big man's body. Look, there is no disrespect to Donovan Peoples-Jones. But Donovan Jones, with each year now in the NFL, becomes the greatest year he has ever had. People think Jerry Jeudy, 972 yards receiving last year, that's maybe the floor. And that kind of tells you that. Dude, great player. Great player.
Yeah, to me, I look at it this, and I like the way you said it before. This is a guy who's going to look to replace one of those guys. People don't realize Amari Cooper's cap number is huge in a couple of years. I mean, 24. I think at 24, isn't he getting almost $25 million?
It gets to that point where it's just all garbage numbers to say the contract was X amount of years. Exactly.
Yeah. And so you're looking at a guy who, yes, he's going to need a new contract, but at the end of the day, you're not going to get anybody at number 42 remotely close to the skill level that this guy has. It's not even close.
I don't know if you're going to get anybody around one. That is the talent of Jerry Jeudy this year.
If Jerry Jeudy comes out in this draft, he's the #1 receiver coming off the board. Now, I don't know because
let's not tell Denver that.
Yeah, we don't tell them that. We're gonna, hey, listen, hey, we might want to go ahead and deflate his value a little bit. Hey, locked on Broncos. Hey, listen, 2 is a little high for Jeudy. No, we just playing. But no, here's the thing. If you want to say the price tag for you is too high, fine. I can give you that. That's debatable. That's your preference. But to say that he's not a difference maker is demonstrably false. To insinuate that this guy is not a difference maker and he's some average receiver that they're asking for a first round pick for, I think it's ridiculous. And to be truthful, the Browns are going to, have to seriously look at it. And if you say, who would you rather have, Jerry Jeudy or OBJ? Come on now. Come on now.
Close.
Yeah. So, we'll see if people are risk averse to it or not. But there's a lot of people, like I joke with them. I said, man, they think you're gonna wake up tomorrow and David Bell is gonna be Devin Hester or something. They're gonna wake up tomorrow. Devin Hester is gonna be returning kicks as David Bell. What do you believe is gonna take to get him?
Okay, well, if anybody hasn't read, obviously Mary Kay Cabot's got a fantastic article out. She's deep into this, and I'm sure maybe some of her conversations are with Ben Albright as well. And look, we did the mock yesterday, and I kind of said, look, this is where we're at to this point. So maybe this is where, look, first things first, if you're going to draft a wide receiver at 42, you absolutely are going to be on the phone with the Denver Broncos and say, well, I can give you 42. Let's talk. Obviously, 42 itself probably is not going to get it done. And Mary Kay, and look, for everybody, good player. Mary Kay's not going to put people's names in there, dude. She's got to see these people face to face every single day. You can't just start putting people's names in articles, because guess what? The next time you show up tomorrow and you say, hey, can I talk to you? They say no. So you don't expect that. For me, now they said in Mary Kay's article, there was, Denver was possibly thinking about a second and a fourth from New England. Look, Jerry Jeudy obviously has a relationship with Mac Jones. Maybe that's something, he would consider. Would you consider Deshaun Watson first? Absolutely, 110%. Every day of the week and twice on Sunday, of course. So now you're the Browns. Look, so I take 42. Do we start talking maybe a pick in 24? Do you want another pick in 24? I can give you maybe a third in 24, because if this goes the way I think it's going to go, I really ain't caring about 24. It's 23 is going to be just fine. We'll worry about 24 when it gets here. Or is this good player? Now, I've talked about this a little bit on Twitter today. For me, the player, in no means am I putting these words in Mary Kay's article, so don't think it out. This is my conjecture here. It looks like it would be Greg Newsome. For me, it looks like it'd be Greg Newsome. Look, Greg Newsome is in a difficult spot here. Martin Emerson is essentially already past him. Denzel Ward, you can't move him now. His contract just starts now. He got a contract extension, but this is year 6 of his career. First 5 were on the rookie deal. This is now Denzel Ward going to his second contract. You brought back AJ Green. You're keeping Thomas Graham, who played for you last year. You brought in Mike Ford, who obviously going to be a special teamer, could play depth, whatever. But the one thing Andrew Berry and his crew have done well to this point, cornerbacks. So guess what? If I got to go draft another cornerback, I'll go draft another cornerback. And guess what? Guess what this draft class brings you? A solid cornerback class. I heard from some people, well, you can't do it because Denzel's injured all the time. All right, well, if you want to put a checker on a checker, let's put a checker on a checker. Greg Newsome, in 2 NFL seasons, 34 games, has already missed 7 games. Greg Newsome, in 3 years in Northwestern, never played in double-digit amount of games. Never played in a double-digit amount of games. So, look, you're going to point the finger at Denzel. You better be just as free to point it and say, oh, well, you know what? Greg Newsome might be a little bit injury-prone himself. Greg Newsome, how truthful it is or what the actual factor is, doesn't like playing slot. So there's another thing where, well, all right, well, you're making it really, really tough on us here, bro. You don't want to play the slot, which we feel is your best role. And he actually played it pretty well. His numbers PFF-wise were comparable to the slot and on the outside last year. Gee, I know you know this. So that, it puts you in a difficult spot. Right now, he's that guy. The other thing is there's that manifesto from back in the day. Don't pay for depth. Well, this is a first-round pick. And, you don't draft first-rounders to play nickel corner. You don't. So if Greg Newsome is not the starting cornerback, you were now paying for depth. This is a guy in a first-round contract. So for me, I tried with 42 and Greg Newsome. And then if it's 42, and then tell me what your bottom line is here. I don't know if 42 and 98 this year are going to get it done. Do you want my third possibly next year? We'll see. I don't know. But if you're the Browns, you got to be in on this because obviously you've been in on this. And now you've beaten down the walls and the foundation of where it was. The Broncos will trade Jerry Jeudy if they feel they can get a first-round pick that suits them. Well, you've already chipped away at that. So now it almost feels almost like a disservice to yourself if you can't find that last hurdle, G, to get it done.
Yeah, I need to figure his temperature out and figure out exactly, is he really that mad or no? If he's really hell-bent on not really, we might as well not even go down that route. When a new coach is coming in, you're trying to establish something, you need guys to be in here and buy in. If he's already before that saying that, he's a good ball player. I like what he is. I like what he's doing.
Yes.
I want him on the team. I'm going to just say that. Here's the thing. Does he really want, if he don't see himself playing nickel and he might have to play nickel, I don't need him pouting about not playing nickel or having to play nickel.
I don't need a Jadeveon Clowney showing up week 7 saying, you know what, then I'm only going to play these reps.
Yeah, like, no, we can't do that. No, come on. We can't do that. So, and let's be clear. We are here. These conversations are being had because the Cleveland Browns are in a position where they're looking to contend. And this is big boy conversations, right? So that's where we moving with it. I would pull the trigger. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think given where we are right now, I think he makes you a contender. I think it might have to be some gymnastics done in terms of figuring out who the player is, how much it is, what the contract extension, all that good stuff. But here's what I know. Jerry Jeudy, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Amari Cooper is very dangerous. With a Nick Chubb and a David Njoku, that's very dangerous. I like it.
My man, that is like the Laker girls of 11 personnel. Nick Chubb, David Njoku, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Come on,
That's to put the cigarette. I'm going to need a minute, honey.
There it is. Let me just mask.
But most importantly, and this is what we're going to get to here in third segment, G. Bush has obviously been a little off the reservation here with the way the Browns are handling this wide receiver room. Is this going to be enough to satisfy the thirst of the big fella? We're going to find out here in just a minute. Your latest Locked On Browns, Garrett Bush, Jeff Lloyd. Appreciate you all for being along for the ride. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Football GM. You've heard me talk about this mobile game app, and if you've never thought you'd make a good GM, you've got to give this game a try. It's not as easy as you might think to create a dynasty. When you play Ultimate Football GM, you get to control and manage every strategic aspect of your team as you play through seasons and lead your team to glory, trying to build an historic dynasty. You've got to manage your draft. You've got to manage your players. Player contracts come up. You got free agency. You've got players who might be troublemakers off the field. And there's some franchises where the owners might be a little more lenient. There's some where they're a little more strict. And you got to make the decisions on these guys. You've got to hire the right coaches and coordinators. You've got to manage the finances, including negotiating players' salaries and extensions, navigating your franchise through free agency, the draft, injuries, player personnel issues, and all the ups and downs of a season. All this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Football GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. Locked On Browns listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On, all caps, no space, in the game store. That's Locked On. So make sure to check it out today. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look it up in the app stores. That's ultimate-gm.com. Ultimate Football GM. Start your dynasty today.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast. G. Bush, Jeff Lloyd at GBush91 on Twitter, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. We right back into it. Now, Jeff, you asked me, was this going to satisfy my craving for a wide receiver? And all jokes aside, I was sitting here confused by it a little bit. I just don't know why people are bent out of shape anyway. Maybe it's because we haven't been in contention, or maybe because there's this thing where change is difficult for some people. It just is. Like you go to your mom's house and you look around and you're like, Mom, why do you keep hoarding that stuff? Why do you have these old newspapers from 1976? Throw those away. People have hard time moving and changing and doing certain things. And so when we're talking about the Browns, I'm not all in on one person. So when it was, when it was Brandon Cooks, was I all over him? No. I said, let's look at it. Let's take a look and see if it makes sense and what it is going to cost. DeAndre Hopkins, his name has been thrown around. Am I in love and sold on DeAndre? No. Hey, let's figure it out. So let's look and see what we're going to do. Even when it comes to Odell Beckham Jr. or guys like that, I'm always willing to have the conversation. And just because you're willing to have the conversation does not mean you're emotional and you don't understand what's going on. For me, if they get Jerry Jeudy, I think they can work it in. If they got Odell Beckham Jr., I think they can work it in. If they traded for Hunter Renfrow, I think they can work it in. There's 3 or 4 receivers that can still help you out here, depending on what you want to do. But I will say this: Jerry Jeudy is the most viable at this position at this point in time because of his age, because of what he could do, because of his skill set, and because of what he can bring to the table. So for me. And I don't understand why, and I'll just throw this out to people. Look, we get paid to do this for a living. Like, we not really necessarily talking to just one person. We're talking to a lot of people. So when we come up here and we have to talk about whether or not a person is going to get traded or what free agent moves you should make, we're not making it out of hate or trying to get dudes off the team. We are trying to tell you what our opinion is on how we go about making the Cleveland Browns a better team. They also have an opportunity. Guess what? Andrew Berry's his own man. He don't got to listen to nothing I'm saying. He probably don't, and he's a good, wise man for not doing so, right? So he has a way he's gonna go, and he has a thought process what he's gonna do. But we got a thought process of what we think too. So you shouldn't be you should not be triggered. You should not be angry if these free agent names come up, because at the end of the day, we are on the same camp. We are all brothers and sisters in arms. You know why? Because we all want to see the Cleveland Browns win. We all want to see the Cleveland Browns get to the highest pecking order. And for me, I believe wide receiver is a very, very big position of need at today. So if they get Jerry Jeudy, I will clap it up. I'll go shake Andrew Berry's hand. If they don't go get Jerry Jeudy, I'll turn over and flip over and look for some other receivers that we should be talking to, or I think they should talk to. Either way, it ain't that serious.
And that's the part. And look, I will die to this. And everybody knows me in the beginning. I was all over Twitter. I got to be honest, guys. There's so much more in life. There really is. And, look, I know a lot of you are truly having fun with it, and that's a form of entertainment for you. But I know damn well there's a lot of you that are out there and everything is that serious. It just can't be. It can't. Look, you want to be that serious on a Sunday afternoon like Garrett Bush during, September, October, November, December? Yeah, that's understandable. Absolutely. No doubt about it. And let me just put it to you this year. Now, look, with this year with Amari Cooper, but where are the old school guys at? The Webster Slaughter, the Reggie Langhorns, these two dudes, Donovan Peoples-Jones and Jerry Jeudy, along with being in the same draft class. Donovan's already 24. Jerry Judy's about to be 24. You could have, and if you want this Deshaun Watson thing to work, you could have these 3 guys together for another 5, 6 years. And it could be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Am I a little geeked up? And because now it almost kind of like, wow, man, if Andrew can pull this one off. Because the thing is and I disagree with G a little bit here, because I don't know, if you're trying to put this out there and your mom, this is what we're going to have for dinner. Then, practice ran late for your brother. Your sister was at dance class. Make yourself a ham sandwich. Now it's no. It was steak. It was garlic mashed potatoes. There was going to be nice bread and salad. Make myself a sandwich. Damn, I don't want a sandwich. I want a Jerry Jeudy. But we'll see. It could be really interesting. I don't think the Browns are the way they used to be. And, G, you know this, and all you fans know this, whereas, hey, we need to drum out interest in our player. All right. We'll float out something about the Browns because they have $85 million in cap space. and that'll drum up some interest for our player. The Browns are trying to beat down this door right now for Denver. And I will forever say, if there's one thing I would not move if I was Denver, it's Jerry Jeudy. That's about the one thing you got going right on offense right now. But hey, stupider things have been done. And, they're trying to just tear it down so much that basically they go play this year with Russell Wilson and then say, you want to know what? This is my team. I'm Sean Payton. You've played here for 2 years. You've been garbage. I'm not going down with this shit, bro. So we'll release you. We will eat all this money for a year or so, and the Denver Broncos will find a new way to survive. But, for the Browns, this is something you got to figure out, and something, if you can even get close to this, and if you say, oh, maybe that's just a little bit too much, maybe it's not, because that 11 personnel of Nick Chubb, David Njoku, Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jerry Jeudy, that's going to keep defensive coordinators up at night.
It is. That's gonna make cats sleep. You're not getting no sleep. Right then, now we can start sprinkling in some of this stuff where you got to look and say, we got to pick a side. We don't know. We got to pick a choice. How we going to stop these dudes, man? And for me, that's all I'm looking for. I don't care what the name on the back of the jersey say. Listen, I'm equal, Jeff. I'm equal opportunity. If you can find a no-name gangster little kid who's like 5 that can do the same thing come on over here. Come on over here. I don't need no name. I just want production, man. There's an opportunity, and my urgency is due to I see a very keen opportunity for the Cleveland Browns to compete. If you're asking me to be quiet about that opportunity, and I just sat here waiting 41 years for it, you've mistaken, because I'm not shutting up. We at the doorstep. We had all our time to do that 1-31, Jeff. 1-31, we had to tuck our tails and shut up. I ain't doing it now. Let's go.
And the other thing is look, you've already brought in Tomlinson, you brought in Okoronkwo, you brought in Juan Thornhill. If this is something you started right at the beginning, maybe some of these teams would have been like, well, I can't let the Browns get to Tomlinson now. I can't let them get Juan Thornhill now. I can't let them get Okoronkwo now. And yes, there's still some work to be done. Get another defensive tackle in here. And baby, let's do this. But, this is something that could be really, really special. And we'll see if it plays out. I'm praying Denver doesn't come to their senses, but hey, it's mile high country out there. And they were the first one to legalize it all. So maybe that stuff just runs in the air 24/7 in that state. I don't know. He is Garrett Bush, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. Check it out on YouTube, of course. Saturday morning, pop in 8 to 12, 92.3 The Fan. Get yourself all dreamed up, faded out for the weekend. Garrett Bush hosting at GBush91. Myself, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Make sure you're following the show on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed, obviously. Notifications on, so when the content drops, it is there for you guys to absorb. We appreciate you all for being along with us every single day. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on the LOB. Let's go, Browns.